using the child's face today. The film I showed you in the morning is because I didn't want to do the child's face. But I told my international board to bugger off. I said, I'll put in my papers. The reason being, I've not come from the corporate sector into the NGO sector to do what I believe is a scam. But internationally, ActionAid's model of fundraising is child sponsorship only. Okay, in India, I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it because I said fundraising is not about showing a child's face and getting the money. International fundraising gurus kept telling me, Jerry, the eyes of the child need to do the talking. I said, that's what makes you different from me. I'm not a conman, I'm a fundraiser. And for me, fundraising is not a job, it's a passion. Right? So I can speak about this till the cows come home, and I can speak very passionately about it. And that's why the entire thing came that it's not about money. It's about taking people on a journey. It's about making them experience that you have so much in life. But what about people who don't? And just by giving a little money, you cannot make a difference in their lives. Do you agree? There are children today who are rag pickers and drug users in the streets of Delhi, in the streets of Mumbai. Yeah. And when you see them at the traffic light, what do people say? Good for nothing. Nikamma. Sorry, who gives you the right to call him a Nikamma? What have you done for him? Have you asked for accountability about the taxes you pay? The government has informal educational programs across the country. From where is that money coming? That's coming from my tax money. There are midday meals across India today. Have you seen the midday meals that are served to people in government schools? You wouldn't feed it to your dogs. So where is the accountability being asked for? So you as a citizen have failed him, not the other way around. Right? So the same thing applies to a donor. Yeah? Because a donor who gives to a cool sounding NGO, I won't name any for being politically correct. I won't put donor politically incorrect. Yeah? A donor who gives to a cool sounding NGO, understand cool sounding, right? Big brand, nice sounding NGOs, gives the money because it's in the face of the child. It's emotional provocation. Right? Have you ever wanted to find out the impact in the child's life? Would you give money at home and expect the child to become an engineer or a doctor? No, right? You would nurture the child. You would at least find out what's happening at school with the child. Right? So why don't you do the child that you're supporting? You don't want to, because for you, it's like the Philip shut it, forget it act. Remember, you don't want that? Philip shut it, forget it. You just give the check, get a tax receipt, talk about it in the cocktail circuit. You know I support swim. So what have you done, baby? It's like giving money to a begging child at the traffic light. Next traffic light, you've forgotten the child. It's the same thing with child sponsorship, period. Right? So that's where the iCODEVGURUKUL journey started. We said, how do we teach NGOs that fundraising is not about money? And how do we teach citizens that you don't become the change by giving money? So our mission mantra became, please don't give money. Give time, give involvement, understand the cause, and then advocate for the cause. And our passion mantra became, together as one we can right every wrong. As one we can right every wrong. So our entire thing is based on these two principles. Right? And we said we do different things to get this message across. One is, we've been doing a lot of workshops with NGOs, and we do it mostly without any fees. Yeah. But after 5 years, you realize that things which you do free sometimes are taken for granted. Right? So we started charging a little fee also because it covers the cost. It covers the cost. I mean, we do everything very basic like you see. So there is a cost attached to it. Right? So our basic thing is, and I'm not the only one to say this, because people in the US and Europe have become more savvy about this, and they've understood that fundraising is not a problem. Vaisa, put the phone on. And if you when we started calling it the iCODEVGURUKUL, yeah, we were going through different themes and topics under this particular panel. The reason we call it iCODEVGURUKUL is, ICO is the iCongo acronym. Dev is development. Yeah. Because it's all development work. And Gurukul is because it's informal, it's more one-on-one, it's interactive. Because we don't want to make this large, we want to keep it small where we can interact with the people and do the hand-holding along before they run for presidential elections. The campaign, leading to the campaign is where they do their fundraisers. So fundraising is an art, it's a science, which you need to understand. It's not rocket science, but it's not as easy also unless you know how to apply theory to practice. Yeah? So that's where we come in. And so fundraising, basically development first. How do you involve support? I mean, how do you get supporters? You get supporters by involvement. The involvement, the journey, the experience, the inspiration and the motivation is what leads to the funds. Okay? But in India, try giving an NGO a human resource as a volunteer to work in their project. The NGO founder doesn't know what to do with it. He's looking at his pocket. Because you don't know how to do with the person. You don't know how to take a person on a journey. Is it making sense to you? Now you take that person on the journey and you don't need to ask the person for money. But if you ask the person for money, what you're doing is you're making him averse of you. So that's why it's not about money. Right? Now, what I showed you in the morning was a program that we put together for Action Aid called Karma Mitra. And Karma Mitra, we for the first time used direct sales networks, distribution which somebody was talking about. And the journey was that when we did a study of the market, and my corporate experience helped in that, research showed us that people don't have faith in the NGO sector anymore. Action Aid had a very, very low brand presence at that time. Yeah, people didn't know what Action Aid stood for. We were kind of fighting a clutter of more than 60,000-70,000 NGOs which were all trying to raise funds using the child space and things like that. So we said we need to go out there with a program which is going to have a differentiator. But not just that, it should be a program which involves people to understand what Action Aid stands for. Right? And that was the reason to show that film in large gatherings and offices. We actually used that film as a presentation. The film was called The Joy of Giving. Right? So we said, how can you experience the joy of giving? Not just money, but giving to understand the issues of those 8 communities. Right? So people didn't know that. I mean, for people in urban India, it was a shocker that people eating rats in this country. Are you sure? So I'm living in my glass house. But the whole idea was how do you shock the guy into reality? And that's what we did. And we ran over 100,000 donors in a year's time. So you had the film. We did something called the Phase 3 campaign. We got a lot of time from television and we worked intelligently. Because what we did is Phase 3 campaign, we tied up time with Times of India. So you see Times Foundation logo. We didn't ask Times of India for free space. We asked them for discounted space. So we got 75% discount on their space. And the remaining 25% came from the other partners, ICICI, Kotak Mahindra and Heritage Auditors. So that took care of our advertising budget. Yeah. So advertising was about creating a persona, an image for Action Aid, because nobody knew what Action Aid was, even though we were